What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and welcome to my Ash vs. Evil Dead Episode 8 recap. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Also, click that like button, and please continue to support me on Patreon.com and also on PayPal. The links is in the description box below. Now, when we check in, we see the cops and everybody, and they trying to clean up that mess from that bloody prom night that just happened. And so they've taken away the dead bodies. We see little pink dress prom queen wannabe getting wheeled out, and then we see them peeping through the blinds, and it's Ash and Pablo, and they're saying, oh man, this is messed up. They really, what really went down was bad. And he's saying, Hefe, we got to figure out a way to get Brandy back. And so he's saying, yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'll go down to get her back. I'd submit to a prostate exam. And he's saying, okay, well, what we need to do is we need to try to get her body back, Hefe, because look at this. And then he looks through the blinds, and then he sees that the coroner's wheeling out Brandy's body. And he's like, if they take her body away, and then Ash looks and says, oh yeah, if they take her body away, it'll be no body left for her to get back to. We got to go ahead and get this done. And so then it cuts to the Twilight Zone, and we see Brandy, and she's running around through the school. It's like a parallel universe with nothing but people running around that were recently killed. And so she's standing in the middle of the street now, and she's wondering what's going on. She kind of lost. It's one girl hiding behind an old blazer, and then she sees that it's the old shop, hardware store. So she tries to run there thinking that she'll see her dad, and then right when she gets there, she's banging on the door trying to get in, and then she sees this darkness, this dark figure just pop up top, and next thing you know, she backs away because she's scared. She doesn't know what that is. And so then as she backs away, she happens to look because she hears a girl screaming and making noise. So she goes over there to look to see what the girl's going through, and then they kind of lock eyes and see each other for a moment. And so Brandy, trying to be helpful, was getting ready to go over there, but then she sees that dark figure standing up above her in the back. And so she kind of gets scared and kind of gets paralyzed in fear. And then the girl turns around because she sees the darkness. Then the next thing she knows, they got these hands coming up out the ground, and they straight giving her a hand job, pulling her down below. And so she's scared. She's getting sucked down into the underworld. She's screaming, help me, but Brandy is so damn scared herself she couldn't even move. And the girl's trying to reach out saying, help me, give me a hand. And so Brandy runs and she says, take my hand, and holding on to the wall. But those hands, they so strong, they yank her down below. And so then Brandy's scared, and she gets, right when she's about to make some more noise, Dalton grabs her and pulls her to the side. Meanwhile, we see her body, and they're loading her body up, the coroners, into the back of the coroner van. And we see Ash and Pablo hiding around the corner like an old cartoon. As soon as they leave, they jump into the coroner's van, and then right when they get in there, Pablo say, hey, it's somebody else back here, Ash. But Ash hot wires the van, pulls off, and then gives the coroner the bird while he peels out of there. Say less. Meanwhile, they riding in the vehicle, and you see Pablo and Ash tells Pablo take the wheel. So Pablo takes the wheel, Ash goes in the back, double check to make sure it's Brandy. He sees it's her, and he says, I'm gonna make sure I get you out of here if it's the last thing I do. And right when he zips it up and walks away, you see the other bag starts to move a little bit. So we know something's going on. Meanwhile, back in the Twilight Zone, we see Dalton, and he's looking, he's telling her, hey, it's this place that we think that the evil doesn't go. She like, he like, I'll tell you later. Let's go. And so then we see Ash, and he's speeding down the street, pulls up at the hardware store, pulls out the body, and he's getting ready to go in there to try to bring her back. Meanwhile, we see Dalton, and he's trying to get her to the safe spot that they found. But then right when he gets there, he sees that the evil is coming out the ground right in front of the door. So he dips into this little crawl space right here to the side, and they trying to lay low, when all of a sudden we see Kelly pop in and scares him, and she like, what are you guys doing here? Brandy, you got killed too? And then Dalton say, you missed me? Kelly like, whatever. She like, come on, y'all, let's go. We can move. And so then they go ahead and dip up out of there, run into the little movie theater so that they can hide. And she like, I thought this is a movie theater. This is a diner. She like, well, things is a little different here. We'll figure it out. Meanwhile, we see Ash, and he's trying to come up with a plan with Pablo, and he's saying, hey, why don't we try to go back in there? And Pablo like, yeah, then you'll become a deadite like Dalton. He like, no, why don't I get wasted, take a bunch of shrooms? I can do that in my sleep. He like, no, we're gonna probably have to kill you, Hefe. And then he turns and thinks about it. He sees Brandy's dead body. He like, hey, to get those girls back, I'll do anything I can. And so he say, well, if we use this, maybe that'll help. And so he like, well, I can't do it by myself. You gotta help me. And then they said 1, 2, and he was about to count to 3, and then next thing you know, they poke it right into his chest, right into the old pumper. And then Ash is like, did I say 3? And then he's out for the count. Then now Pablo, he's tweaked out because now Ash is dead, and now he don't know what to do. Meanwhile, Ash is, waking up in the Twilight Zone. He pops up like, Pablo, it didn't work. Next thing you know, he realized, oh yeah, it did. Pablo's back in the real world looking at Ash's body, and then he looks over to the side at Brandy and sees that it's empty. And so now he knows something ain't going on right, and he hears noise up top. Meanwhile, back in the Twilight Zone, they're talking about a plan, and then they hear noise like something about to come through the door. They get scared and hide. Lo and behold, it's Ash busting through the door, looking around, and they like, Ash, what are you doing here? How did you make it? They're like, Brandy killed you too? He like, no, I did it myself. And they like, you killed yourself? What in the world? What are you doing? And he like, man, I'll do anything to get you all out of here. And come on, I got a plan. She like, you got a plan? He like, well, somewhat of a plan, a part of a plan. Meanwhile, we see Pablo. He's up top in the hardware store looking around for, the dead body that's missing. And next thing you know, that little poster of Ash starts flying towards him, scares the bejesus out of him. He falls over to the floor and knocks him out. And he's trying to get his bearings together. He drops the dagger. And next thing you know, it's not Brandy's body. It was one of the other prom queens. And so she's saying, what's up, Brujo boy? And then he grabs the little plumber's wrench, cracks her upside the head. She falls out. Now he's looking for her because he don't know where the body went. Meanwhile, in the Twilight Zone, Ash is trying to tell him to follow him. He goes through the door he came through, but this time it brings him to the sperm bank. He tell him, watch they step, it's sticky. Wonder why. He comes out the door, and now he's on the street, but now he sees the hardware store. He say, we can make it to the hardware store, but evil's in the way. So Dalton says, don't worry about that. I'll create a distraction. And Ash is like, you sure about that? And then he said, yeah. Then he kisses Kelly. And Kelly, she's starting to get the hots for Dalton. And then he goes into the street to distract the evil. And he's saying, hey, come here. And then Ash gets into the Delta. And Kelly like, none of that stuff works here. And he like, this was built in Livonia, Michigan. And then we see the hands trying to get in the car. Kelly seeing Dalton making the distraction. But next thing you know, the evil done had enough of his little fast talk, and then they grab him and they sucking him down below. And Kelly, she's screaming, no, Dalton. She didn't want a little, new love to leave. But next thing you know, he's gone, and now they got 1,000,000 hands on the car trying to pull the Delta to hell. And Ash cranks it up, say, I told you it work. And then it gets cranked up, and it started, but it's too late. The hands pull it up under the ground, and now it's been pulled to hell. And then the girl that was over there watching everything sees it, but next thing you know, it pops up through the ground. Nothing can stop old Delta. And then he pulls up, and then he sees the evil in the way, so he guns it. He speeds full speed ahead right into the evil, and right when the evil in there was right head to head, he busts right through it, kept on going, and the Delta was unstoppable. Everybody was happy and smiling. He gets out the car. They break it down into the bottom of the basement, but it's no portal. And he's like, Pablo, you had one job. Where are you? And right when Pablo was inside up top, he's fighting the Deadite. She's all talking crap to him or whatever. And next thing you know, she jumps on top of him. He grabs a chisel and then he slams it right into her wrist and like crucifies her to the desk. Then he takes her head, puts it into the paint mixer and squeezes it, and then he starts shake, rattle, and roll her head until it just shakes off. And he stands there and he says, "It's Brujo Especial." And then next thing you know, he hears on the TV, "Pablo, where are you?" And so then he runs down to the basement, cracks open the portal, and then it opens up on the other side in the Twilight Zone. And so then Ash has Brandy walk through the portal because everybody's happy they get to go back home. And so then right when Ash was going through it, we went through, but he was about to. Kelly couldn't get through. She like, "Ash, I can't get through." He like, "Kelly, what's the matter?" And then right when he was about to try to fix it, it sucks him through. And then she waves goodbye. He got sucked through like it was a $2 hole that pulled him through. And so then he wakes up and he's like, "Yo, what happened? Where's Kelly?" And then Pablo, he's happy and he's like, "Where's Brandy?" And he's like, "Was that Brandy? Did you double check the bodies when you brought them in?" And so then they run upstairs and then he sees that Brandy's in there. She's coughing, gagging, crying, and then he gets her out of there, and they all happy because he done saved Brandy's life. And so then as they all get together, he say, "Hey, we got to figure a way to go back because the ghost beaters never leave a man behind." And they got Kelly back there still, and we got to go back and get her. And so they all signing on to go get Kelly. Meanwhile, we see why Kelly didn't come back, because her body has a spirit in there. It's that evil Kaya in there. And she was telling Ruby how the Dark Ones is going to be ready to kill them because they left them trapped all those years. Their vengeance will be merciless. And she said, "Who's that?" And she says, "It's one of the knights." She pulls off the hood and she says, "Oh, you demons, demon woman of fire." And she says, "Relax." She said, "What are you going to do to me?" And then they smile and they say, "No, just relax. You're going to help us rewrite our history and get our place back." And then that just put the fear in her heart right there, because she had that little knife pointed at her throat. And so it's real interesting to see how these next 2 episodes is going to shape up. But of course, as a true fan, I can't wait. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Continue to support me on Patreon. The links is in the description below. Peace, and I'm out.